What up? It's the real Keys. Any other a fabrication of your imagination. And Universal Debates presents Real Random Versus Discussions. Here we discuss versus battles that you wouldn't normally think of instead of the same old recycled fights that you see every day. And I'm back with another inverse battle, this time Majo Taisen. We got the Flaming Hot Chili Pepper, your favorite neighborhood arson Yaoya, versus the Empress of China, Miss Not Scared to Break Wind in Your Face, Wu Zetian. And unlike most of the fandom, I actually like these two characters. You ask me why, I couldn't tell you, but I would actually love to see this fight animated. And today I'm here to compare stats to see which one of them would come out on top in the fight. So let's not waste time and get right to it. For hexing abilities, these two characters are pretty much the same, both for elemental users, but they do it in two different ways. And Yaoya's magic vestment is called Edo's 100 Flame Uprising. And as you would expect from the Flame Witch, when she enters her magic vestment, she causes a big flaming tornado, or I guess it's called a fire-nado. And the way that she uses her flames is mostly defensive because it's more of an aura that she wraps around her body. And anything that comes in contact with it catches on fire. If you launch a projectile at her, she can send it back to you on fire. But that's really essentially it. Wu is the Supremacy Witch, and her magic vestment is called Conqueror of the Barbarians. And when she enters her magic vestment, she creates a torrent of flowers. And her unique magic is wind manipulation. But she actually doesn't use wind as a projectile. And the way that she actually uses it is for flying, enhancing her speed, and to add more force behind her attack. If I was to say who had the better hexing ability, I would probably go Yaoya, but you can actually just call it a tie here. It might be a little biased for me because fire is my favorite element, but it's really up to you. Which one do you believe is the better element between air and fire? But honestly, I'm just gonna have to call it a draw. For attack potency, we have Yaoya being able to hurt Orihime many of times. She was using punches to burn her face. And we also have a feat of her being able to burn through Orihime's meteor. There's a few assumptions I had to make, like the size of the meteor and how long it took for her to melt through it. And I also did it for melting and vaporization. The energy needed to melt a 10-meter deep human-sized hole would be 16 gigajoules, or 4 tons, which is large building level. If it took 3 seconds, it would be 5.3 gigawatts, 5 seconds, 3.2 gigawatts, and 10 seconds, 1.6 gigawatts. I'm more inclined to say it took 3 seconds because they didn't even announce the winner by the time she jumped through. Using vaporization, it would have took 30 tons of TNT, which is city block, and also 41 gigawatts. This actually would make it consistent with other feats in the series. Wu was able to hurt a magic vestment list Jean and create a tornado in the arena. Depending on the category of the tornado, 3 through 5, if it's a 3, it will be 0.7 tons of TNT. And a 5 would be 1.4 tons of TNT, which are both building level. But honestly, Wu is even higher than this because we have another feat from Tomoe where she caused some destruction to the ground. Now this isn't my count, this is from the Versus Battle Wiki, but they have it at 77 tons of TNT. And the reason I bring this up is because we have a rank for Tomoe magic, which was an A, and they also ranked Wu's magic as an S. We could say that Wu upscales from that, but it's also possible that the magic has nothing to do with their actual attack potency and be based on utility, because Tomoe is the physically strongest fighter in the whole tournament, and I think her magic was tailored for her, and other people with her magic couldn't do the same as her. It is also possible that it does actually scale to their attack potency because Marie Antoinette never even fought in her life and she was able to hold a giant hammer. But I would assume that Yaoya and Wu had the same rank since they both are elemental users. So if we go by feats and the rank doesn't matter, Yaoya wins here. But if we go by the ranks, they would be near equals. Speed is another tough one to call because they're both pretty much two of the fastest characters. Yaoya can use her flames to propel herself and boost her speed. Kiss Kill even commented and said that her speed was imperceptible and it was super speed. And going by other people's feats who were able to dodge bullets, she would be supersonic plus to hypersonic, and I would say that it would be more of the latter because Orihime was also being sped up due to her changing the gravity of herself. And just like Yaoya, Wu can also increase her speed with her magic. Jean was the first person they commented on being fast, and Wu was able to blitz her a few times. And Jean says how she's faster than before, but she can still react. Wu was moving so fast that the wind was cutting her. Now, it's not actually possible for the wind to cut you, but if it theoretically happened, the wind would be having to move at supersonic speed. I also would like to say these are two different speed categories for Wu and Yaoya. When they were talking about super speed and imperceptible for Yaoya, they meant her movement speed. And for Wu, it's her movement and her combat speed. And the reason we know this is because we see that Yaoya was dashing towards Orihime when they brought up her speed. And they talk about the force of the wind behind Wu's attacks. And we see her blitz and dancing around John. So for speed, I'm gonna have to give it to Wu. For durability and endurance, Yaoya took a lot of attacks from Orihime. She survived a meteor being dropped on her head with barely any damage. She got kicked and fell from the sky, and I'm pretty sure that kick was with increased gravity. She got her head pushed into the ground, and then the gravity increased to had her head stuck in the ground looking like an ostrich, and took multiple gravity-infused punches from Orihime. And this doesn't include the fact that her magic was burning herself too. So she definitely has some of the best durability and endurance in the whole series. Wu hasn't tanked too many attacks. The most she has tanked is a couple of headbutts. But just like Yaoya, her magic also hurts her. So she was able to endure being cut up by her own magic while consistently taking the heat from John's flame. But if I would have to give durability and endurance to anyone, I would still have to give it to Yaoya. For weapons, Yaoya uses a matoi, which is a Japanese flag used by firemen during the Edo period to notify people of a fire. It is able to fold outward as a parasail as well as having a blade attached to the top and be used as a spear. She skillfully wields it, using its unfolding capabilities to hide her movements visually from her opponent, being able to swing it and use it as a pole vault to launch herself into the air. For intelligence, Yaoya is pretty smart when it comes to combat. She outsmarted Orihime a few times, like when she opened her matoi for a surprise attack. But for skills, she only showed one attack, which is called Explosive Fist. This was just a punch imbued with her flames. The flames amp her attack and causes burns. Wu's weapon is a pole arm with both a hammer club and halberd end. Even after it was cut in half, she was able to dual wield it. She also has a dagger. For intelligence though, she didn't really show much other than just using her magic and swinging her pole arm. She has shown a few different attacks for skills though. She has Maw of Dragon's Ascent, which traps her opponent in a tornado while imbuing her hammer with her magic to boost its strength, then slams it down. Then she has Shining Sovereign, Dragon's Downcast. She rises in the air, creating a large tornado of wind around the opponent that appears as 3 dragons, and then launches her halberd downward. Fettered by none in all of heaven and earth, and Wu completely cloaks herself in wind, boosting her strikes and speed. This allowed her to blitz John, but it will cause her to harm herself. And her final attack is called Heavenly Armor, Final Tempest, and with such a cool name, it really is a big letdown. It's just her thrusting her hammer towards the opponent. So for weapons and skills, I'm gonna have to give it to Wu just cause she has a lot more than Yaoya actually has. Her weapon can literally stab, cut, and has a blunt end, while Yaoya can just poke and swing. And Wu also has a lot more notable attacks than Yaoya, cause Yaoya literally just has that one punch. But Yaoya does have higher intelligence though. Now on to the comparison. Yaoya's bounty is 5,662,000 with a grade of C+ and a threat level of proceed with caution. Wu's bounty is 5,562,000 with a grade of C+ and a threat level of proceed with caution. If you made it this far, like, share, subscribe, and comment for more random versus discussions. It don't cost you a dime while it costs me time. And follow Universal Debates on Facebook. Now on to the fight. For hacks and abilities, it's really about the same. It's really up to you to think which one is better, being a firebender or being an airbender. Other than that, there's not much to their hacks. For attack potency, they are about equal, or maybe Yaoya's attack potency is a little higher than Wu's, but I don't think it's enough to make a big difference. For speed, they also are about similar. They both have statements putting them in the top of the verse when it comes to speed. In my opinion, I think Wu would probably be faster because she was able to completely blitz John, and she for a fact objectively has the better attack speed, or you could say combat speed, due to her wind buffing her speed. If Yaoya's attack is based on explosions and not just fire, her speed could also match. No pun intended, but her skates also make her fast too. But I still think Wu is probably faster. Durability and endurance easily goes to Yaoya. She literally got her face pummeled into the ground and still kept fighting. The most Wu has taken is a couple headbutts. Skills and equipment, Wu has better weapons because she actually has weapons. Wow, Yaoya literally just has a big ass umbrella. But she does know how to use that big ass umbrella, and that's what leads me to say that she has better intelligence. Orihime was floating in the air knowing that she cannot be hit by Yaoya, and Yaoya chose to use the ground and picked up the rubble and turned it into a fireball. I can't say for 100% fact, but I think that Wu could have used her wind in a completely different way, but all she did was just attack John with her basic weapons. Their AoE might be similar or the same, but I would say that Wu definitely has the better range. But how would the actual fight go? These two have so many similarities even past their stats. Wu fought someone who also used fire, and Yaoya also fought someone who was airborne. But I think that Yaoya probably wins this. I would have said Wu wins if she showed other uses for her win, but at the end of the day, she still has to get close to even fight Yaoya. Wu creates tornadoes, it wouldn't do anything but spread Yaoya's fire, and Wu can also create tornadoes. Yaoya can also just use the ground for projectiles and send it up to Wu. And to put the icing on the cake, Wu already lost as the person that used fire. Wow, Yaoya actually won against her airborne opponent. Granted, Wu actually flies while Orihime just levitate, but that's not really enough to make a big difference. Yaoya also could tank a lot of Wu's attacks while Wu can't really tank too much. So the win goes to Yaoya. But that's all I got for you today. Be on the lookout for more real round of versus discussions and more Majo Taisen matchups. Leave a comment and tell me which matchups you would like to see me discuss.